Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice Pod.
Did
You're
it again?
listening to the Beans and Dice
You did
Podcast,
it again!
a podcast
Two weeks in a
about
row.
how we game.
Played the outro on the intro. Not that I'm saying anything.
Over here.
The in can't go in the out.
You can't put the in and the out. The out has its place, and the in has its place.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice Podcast Thursday night live call-in show. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And joining us today, live in for the first time in a very long time, we have a full in-house studio, Robert.
Full. We're like packed in here.
Let's say hello to our guest. Wow, the camera got knocked around. I'll fix that in a moment. Our friends coming in, Jim Odak, known as Jodak on the Discords, member of the Tampa Gaming Guild, which we will talk to Jim about in a moment, and longtime buddy of the Cabrera family, my man, Max Burns, heavy war gamer. That's why I love having him on.
And the Beans and Dice community. He's like one of the OGs. He's like
He
from
is
way back
OG.
in the day. Yeah.
He is OG.
Back before Beans and Dice was a thing. So
All I'll ask is that if you talk, make sure your face is all up on the
get
mic.
like touching it.
Yeah, like it's like all up in there. Get in there.
You see, I put my chin on it a lot of
deep.
times.
And
So.
this is actually my second time on the show now.
Yes, he
that's
was on
right.
before. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Odak's first time on the show. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Welcome to the Beans and Dice Podcast Thursday Night Live Call-In Show, where we make the show, which is normally about how we game, about how you game, you folks at home. So we're going to open up the phone lines in just a moment to talk to y'all. But first, we wanted to just give a quick rundown of our game that we have on the table right now.
You want to get the banner call going? Or are we going to wait the 20 minutes for the call-ins?
Yeah, we'll get...
Okay, so as our recent procedure has been, we're going to do the first 20 minutes just kind of chit-chatting about some stuff. We're going to prime the pump, and then when we open the phone lines here in about 20 minutes, you folks can call in and take over the show. You can either talk about what we've talked about, or you can bring up your own topics. You know, we want to hear what you're up to, what you've been doing. But tonight, we are in the middle of a game of... Dune Imperium. And Carlos and I have played Dune Imperium. Actually, I was just checking my BGG log, and I've played it. I was a little surprised. I played it 8 times here about the last 2 years, but this is the first time I've played with any of the expansions. And number one, it was partially our priority because of the Dice Tower Awards that we're going to do a big show on here probably in...
Why's it got to be big show? All the
big
pressure.
Show. Everybody's excited
All the pressure
about
on big
our
show.
predictions on the Dice Tower Awards. So
Can it just be a show?
2 of the expansions are from 2 of the 4 or 5. I think there's 5 expansions for expansion of the year, and 2 of them are from the Ix. Or, I'm sorry, from the Dune Imperium. One is the Rise of Ix, and the second one is Immortality. And we already have our opinions, even though we have not completed a game. We are about 2/3 of the way, maybe 3/4 of the way through a game here that we might try to finish up after the show tonight. But in any case, we will definitely talk a little bit about that. So we'll go around the horn here. Mike and Wayne, you guys have both played Standard Dune, right?
Yeah, I've played Standard Dune a few times. Yep.
Yeah,
And
standard for me, no expansions.
No expansions for you either, Wayne, right?
No, I own them and I've kind of played, like read the rules and laid them out and stuff like that, but I haven't played a game of them yet.
Okay, let me take over this part of the show then. Let me throw it to you two guys. Mike or Wayne, whoever's ready to go. Since you have not played the expansions, just give us a quick thoughts on Dune Imperium, the base game, and then we'll come back over here and we'll talk about the expansion, what our experience has been so far. But one of you two jump in there.
Mike, you want it?
Sure. I'll be a little bit shorter because I think I've only played it once, and the one time I did play it, I didn't prepare enough for the battles that happened at the end of every round. But man, it still sits in my head today. Every time that somebody mentions it in like their top 10 or whatever it may be,
Good.
Yeah, it's so good. I regret not owning it at this point, and it's definitely on my list of games that I need to buy and add to my collection. I know it'll get to the table with the groups that I play with. And from what I've heard, the expansions are pretty good. So I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys have to say about that.
Yeah, we don't have a table shot tonight. We set up some cameras so we could get all 4 of us in the different shots. But we're playing with
the deluxe box set.
Yeah, all the little, and it's got 3D printed stuff in here. We got holders here for our cards and everything that have been 3D printed. They're all Velcroed together like a little stackable. You know, those little those wooden.
No.
Things
Step in here,
yeah.
Mr.
James
Odak.
Yeah,
get that mic in your face. Tell us a little bit about these trade displays, the dashboards.
Wish I didn't have all my stuff set up. I'll pull a little part of it apart maybe so we can show it off a little bit while James is talking. But go ahead, Jim.
Just 3D printed dashboard. I always struggle. One thing I struggle.
You can move the mic to you.
Am I not close enough? There,
No,
is that better?
Get right up on it. Yep.
Hey, it's my first time. Cubby break.
You can move the mic to you.
Yeah.
Get comfortable.
All right. Oh, yeah, right, downturns. My biggest problem always playing the game is just like everything was like disordered where my play set. So I went on to the BGG, and I think in the forum someone posted the patterns for this. What Rob's holding up, it's a nice place to hold the leader card and your resources and whatnot, and it's
And that's slick.
Yeah, it's got a spot for your discards, a spot for your draw pile. It's got a place to hold the first player marker vertically, so it's easy to see across the table. So that has enhanced and it matches your player color.
It's all blinged out.
Everyone has their own. So I've got the green one because I love the green. I like to be green colored. The
green go?
Yeah, so I can say it's greens go, and I can also say I have the green card.
Yeah.
You see how that works. And then
as you discovered tonight, you could discard your burned cards underneath your leader.
yes, when you trash cards,
little hole
there's
under
a
here?
big hole underneath the leader card, and you can just throw them in there. That way, they're out of the way and completely destroyed. But let's keep the focus on some of the expansions, like Mike was asking, because he was interested in what the expansions were. Beans, give it the beans, right? The basics, enjoyment, aesthetics, and negatives, and then summary. Let's focus on expansion, not just Dune. But the basics are the Ix expansion adds a player overlay, a board overlay for the board, the actual board itself. It takes over the council area. Is that what we call it? The green
The
area?
government or whatever, the green top at the top of the board. Yeah.
Council area and
lands
the
around.
in the commerce area we used to be able to trade.
Yeah, so it takes that over, and it also takes over that spice resource management area in the top right. You remember you'd be able to trade in spice for money or gain spice, I think it was, at one point. All of that gets covered up and replaced with the Ix board, and then on top of that, it adds a technology board which is probably one of my favorite parts of this, of the changes, that adds these 3 stacks of bonus cards. I would say cards, but they're
Tiles.
They're tiles. They're cardboard tiles. So like perma tiles that go in front of you and have like permanent abilities that you can tap throughout the game for extra resources. So the Ix board, the government changes, not a big deal.
Yeah. It's not. It's almost the same.
It feels the same.
Eliminated a couple spots, but
Yep.
yeah.
But go ahead, Max.
Well, I do miss the rally troops.
Yeah, it's a way to get
section.
some troops.
I like
yeah.
that one.
Yeah, Rally Troops is gone. But the spice area, the yellow triangles in the top right, that's a huge change. What it's gone to is this almost like a push forward track, and then at any moment when you have the ability to, you get the icon, you can then scoot to the right and then fall down the track. As you go up the track, you gain nothing. But when you finally decide to move over to the right
Cash it in.
and go down the track, you're going to hit every notch on the way down and gain every bonus you went up. So how much resource do you want to spend working your way up that track to then finally collect on everything? Or do you want to keep a quick cycle and just grab that small one at the beginning and then right down, small one right down?
That's what I've been doing, grabbing the small one.
You're used to that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
why your hands are made that way.
Yeah.
I really love this track. I mean, it's very much like, Max falling out of the ugly tree and hitting every branch on the way down. It just feels good. Like, how far do I want to go up? And when am I ready to collect on all these bonuses? And then what's really cool about that track is the first step, that one that everyone's going to get access to as long as they move on that board, includes 5 Stellari, so 5 money to you, but 1 money to everyone. And one of the things that I didn't like about Dune on its own was like it felt real tight. The money felt tight, but this allows for more money to go to everyone. You're opening the markets, getting money out there. So that's a basic part of the Ix change. The Ix expansion also includes that tech board. The tech board has 2 green spots, and this is where you go to buy your dreadnoughts. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Big part of Ix.
And then some technology cards. These technology cards have been so fun to cut. Rob, you got 3 of them.
Oh, yeah.
I've got 2 of
I
them.
have 4. I just trashed one of
You
them just
trashed?
for a point. Yeah.
That tells you how much, and Max, you've got 2.
I got 2.
It tells you how much fun these tech cards are that you can buy, and that most of them tend to be permanent, like an ability or a tappable ability. So it really, it feels good. It
Yeah.
feels good to buy these tech cards and it starts to become almost like a more asymmetric than when it was when you had your leader. So you had your leader, he's asymmetric, right? But now you've built almost like in the Viking game, Blood Rage. We start off kind of similar, but
Yeah.
towards the end, we've kind of diversified our way into different asymmetry in the way we play, right? That's what it feels like. Towards the end of the game, I'm getting troops for tapping cards. I'm getting extra money while Rob's doing something completely different with his tech cards. So it really ramps up that asymmetry.
Gives you a lot more to think about, a lot more things to do. So
Well, that was my question is like what some of the reviews have and what people have said on different channels and things like that is it doesn't add that much more complexity to the game. But Rob, you just said it adds tons of more decision space. So
it is more decisions, but
but
does
is it
allow
really
you-
is it more complex and adding to game length or not really?
Well, we're finding it is a little longer. I mean, Carlos shook his head no, but then as far as game length, you did mention right before we went on the show that it is making for a longer game.
I like because it adds 2 more green spaces that it gives more places to go. Right, and I got to do the net. I got to figure out the net from the base game
Well,
to.
it took 2 away.
It
took 2 away, so it netted
Yeah,
0.
Yeah, netted
Yeah,
zero.
net zero.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the same with the
With the yellow spaces
with
in the top
spaces
right.
too,
Yeah. So just changed what they do. So I agree that allows you some more diversity. It does free some things up because in the base Dune, a lot of people are kind of competing for the same money spaces. I'll call them the cherry spaces. There was a few spaces on the board that everybody wanted to be at. This took some of the other spaces that were a little less desirable and made them into quote unquote money spaces. And so you don't feel as bad. And I'm a little conflicted on that because the reason I like base Dune so much is because it is so tight and you always feel like, oh, I'm one resource away from doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
This, because there are other really good places to go, if you are that one resource short of doing what you really wanted to do, you have something else you can do that's pretty good. So it definitely takes a little bit of that tension off, but it replaces that with options, with other things you can do with, all right, well, that didn't work. I'm going to do the other thing this turn. And so I found that I am falling into, in my first game here, I'm falling a little bit into dabbling into a bunch of little things. I noticed that Jim and Max are going real hard kind of in one direction. And
I'm going combat.
yeah, Carlos is going big on combat. I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything. I'm actually currently in second place, but I have a feeling I'm going to slip to third or fourth here pretty quick because I've got a few things that can get me some points, but I don't have anything that these guys have invested in something that in one turn they're probably going to be able to get 3 or 4 points and really push past the finish line. I'm probably going to limp up to the finish line. So I don't know. We'll see. If we get a chance to finish it, we'll see how it goes. But yeah.
Now, Immortality, right?
Immortality, the next expansion. Yep.
The basics on that is it adds another board. So you get another
board.
You're taking up more space, folks. A
Yeah.
lot more space on the table. But what it does is it adds this. What is that new game? It's got like the branching path. It's Tigris, Wayfarers,
Or Wingspan Asia with the
Wayfarers of the
South
Euphrates
Tigris.
or South Tigris.
Yep.
I think is the new one where Mahir called about it. Mahir Shah, and he talked about how it's these branching Y patterns, and as you move down the Y pattern of your path, you're hitting different bonuses. They're doing that with this immortality board, and it's based on like a symbiotic or mutation type
Genetics.
genetic
Yeah,
text.
there you go.
So it's got this green cube that you get to use your troops for. So you're allocating your troops away from combat. Remember, in Dune, you only have, I think, 12 troops to start with.
15, I think.
15
Maybe
15 troops. That's
yeah,
it.
well.
But you can spend those troops by putting them and reserving them in this genetics science tracks. You can't use them for combat because they're over there, but then you get to use them on this genetic science track to move up on another track that gives you victory points.
The Scarab
and
yeah.
the Scarab Beetle
Yeah.
track that gives you victory points. So this to me was probably the most complexity added to the game.
Yeah, it's another thing to think about. Another whole track, actually 2 tracks. I guess
Right.
that you're really adding 2
A
new.
branching Y pattern hexagonal track.
Yeah, and then a straight line track. The straight line track, if you can really push that thing, it could potentially give you 2 more victory points in a game that anybody who's played Dune knows. Normally, the standard game is to 10. The advanced game that we're playing, the long game, the epic game, I guess it's called, it goes to 12. So if you can push that track and get 2 points, I mean, you're 1/6 of the way there just by moving along this one track. So. It's got
So that's it's not a lot to it in how it's described, but it's the cards because it adds a whole new deck of cards to purchase that you use your little mutation scientist dudes
Yep.
to buy. So it adds another deck and another display of options. So you
Right.
can see where the complexity comes
Yeah,
in.
the gameplay is not complicated. Just the depth is now the options.
Yeah.
And
That it
trying
added.
to figure the synergy or the combos with all the new.
All right,
cards.
let's go beans. Give it the beans, right? We did the basics. E for enjoyment. Round the horn. Max, anything? What did you enjoy about these expansions?
I mean, I definitely like the smuggling track or trading track, what that's called. I definitely like that one. The technologies,
Oh, the interstellar shipping track.
yeah, the shipping track. I don't know, the technology thing, it's kind of hit or miss because
That's okay. We got a negatives because it's BEAN and beans. If y'all haven't caught on yet, I'm spelling out beans.
I mean, there's the 3 stacks of technology, and you're kind of limited as to I don't know if you can use the Atoms token to clear that board and try to like redo it.
I don't think so.
But
No, I think that only applies to the Imperial market.
yeah.
Yeah, so have you guys used that Atomics token to refresh the board? Because that's the biggest
Somebody
complaint
I
about-
did.
Yeah.
I used
Max
it.
No,
did.
not
Yeah,
yet.
Max
Max
did,
did.
I used it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a big complaint about the base game is sometimes
Right.
you can get stuck with the cards, and that
We
one
talked about
token
that-
enough is.
We talked about that in a prior show when we were talking
Yeah.
about deck builders and things that we don't like. I remember if it was a podcast or if it was one of the live shows we did, but we talked about one of my least favorite things, that made a bad deck builder is a game where you can't reset the row, and that was actually Dune. I used as my example as a game where that was one of the frustrating parts is that if you got stuck with crappy cards that were either super expensive early on, nobody could buy those, you could never cycle them until you got further into the game, or if it was just stuff that nobody wanted, it would just sit there and people wouldn't buy upgrade cards. And so, but yeah, that token allowing you to refresh. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, Wayne, but
go for it.
that's a big thing in this game. So yeah. And do we
Jim, enjoyment?
Yeah.
Enjoyment. So Ix, I think, fixes one of the problems with the base game where spice didn't really have a use.
Agreed.
You end up just selling your spice to get more money, and then once you used the money for what you needed, you were done with it.
Yep.
With Ix, now you've got all those technology cards that you could spend the money on. It made the spice on, and made the money a lot more tighter. I think for me, it really improves the game. It makes it more flow.
Yeah.
Immortality is more, I think, for hardcore players that just want more. I don't think it fixes anything. I think it just adds more. The one thing you didn't touch on is the grafting.
Oh God!
yeah.
Because nobody's even done
We
a
haven't-
graft.
We haven't been doing graft. No,
I did it
Jim's
twice.
done it twice.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Still a no buy.
I think that's probably like my least favorite. But it
Grafting is a mechanism in the cards, Wayne, where if the card has the word grafting on it, it has to be played in conjunction with another card. Sounds cool, right? Sounds cool. Like I get to do one card play with 2 cards, right? So, and then my worker can go to any of the spaces on either of the 2 cards. But it just hasn't happened enough. Like
it's like really.
it's
long
even
game
worse than the
combo
what's this mechanic in the game when you play like a Fremen card, Fremen friend, Fremen
bond.
Fremen bond.
Yeah, the
the bond
bonds.
cards.
Yeah, right.
Like that bond mechanism rarely happens already. They added another mechanism that rarely also happens.
Same thing with the best the Bene Gesserit, where if you already have one in play, now you can play it.
That rarely ever happens.
Because there's also the grafting card says you have to have a grafting card to play this card.
Yeah, there's one that says it has to be grafted or has to be played with a grafting card
to
or
get the
whatever.
bonus.
Yeah, to get the
Yeah.
bonus. That's
Let me
on
save
it.
that
Yeah.
for the negatives. But
Yeah.
grafting. I forgot to bring that up during the basics. Grafting.
It's really deep, long-term comboing is what it does.
Real
None of us,
deep.
I think, have really experienced enough to do it well yet.
Okay, I'll leave it to that. Chalk it up to that. Rob, any enjoyments?
I'll be brief. They hit the big things, but yeah, my biggest thing is was the spice. In the base game, I would have games where I would just build up a ton of spice, and then like Jim said, you spend it, cash it in for money. Then you take the money up to the council, and then you do all the council things, and you max all the council things out. I had games where I played where I did that, and then I started building up spice again or building up money again, and I had nothing to spend them on. This gives you a lot more options of places to go to spend that money. So that's the biggest plus for me.
And I'm gonna I guess piggyback on Rob. Sounds like fun. I felt like in regular Dune, like Tony Montana, like there was a pile of spice in front of me, right? Just like, and there was nothing I could do with it. In this game, that tech board with the 3 tech options to be able to buy from, and you're spending spice to buy the tech. I don't know if I mentioned that. When you buy tech, you spend spice, not money. There is a place for your spice to go. And I got a really cool $6 spice, which gives me $2 at the start of every round, 2 Solari. So you can see the kind of benefits you can get when you spice it up.
Spice it up. I like that.
Now that you think about it, I think you're right. Like, because before in the base game, I would take the gilding spot that gives you the 2 water and the 5 armies for the for the 6 spice.
Yep.
Now you really have to think about what you're gonna do with the spice. And in this game, I've really found myself like hurting for water, whereas before I'd get water easy because I would take that 1 space and then get the 2 water. But now
Yeah, lots
it's hard.
Lots more things to think
It's more
about.
decision making now.
Aesthetics, BEAN. A is
920.
aesthetics. 920.
You know, if you hit that
Well,
phone while
you
we
know,
keep talking. But,
We will.
All right, we'll go ahead and turn that phone on while we keep talking. But aesthetics, so just as far as the visuals, now again, we're a little spoiled here because we're playing Jim's copy, and he's got like 3D printed stuff. He's got stuff that Dan painted, the markers for the different, the 4 different alliance
Keep it to the expansion though. Let's focus. Just give it
Oh,
the
we're gonna
beans
go
on
to
the
expansion.
expansions.
Okay. Well,
Aesthetically, what did it change anything? Did it improve?
Just the dreadnoughts, I think. Dreadnoughts
Yes.
are cool
Dreadnoughts, I
looking.
think. I don't even. Do we even talk about the dreadnoughts?
No, because I'm saving it for the ends.
Oh, okay. So the dreadnoughts are a definite plus. Carlos does not like them because he's playing the war game, and you only get 2 dreadnoughts. But there's a dreadnought that was added with Ix that if you can get, there's only 2 of them that you can recruit on each team, but if you get them, they count as 3 power instead of 2 power, which the infantry normally count as. So they change up the balance of power a little bit. You have to get those by going to the technology, which was added in Ix section of the board. But instead of getting one of these tiles, spending your stuff to get the tile, your other option is you can go up there, spend 3 Solari, and then get a dreadnought. Oh, actually, I guess you can also buy. You just don't get a discount on the buy of a tile. But the dreadnoughts, I think the dreadnoughts are pretty cool. In the base game, they are not these though. What are they? They're just a little wooden.
They're like a rectangle token instead of
Okay.
a square. more or
Gotcha.
less,
Okay.
With a little shape.
So not as cool as the 3D printed ones that we have here with Jim.
Well, they have a pack you can get from Direwolf now of similar type dreadnoughts.
Okay.
With the design rather than the base as well.
Cool. But as far as the rest of the expansion stuff, I mean, there is a little overlay board that goes on the board. I mean, it aesthetically looks the same. The 2 other boards that are added off to the side aesthetically look the same. They're mostly black. They've got a little bit of color here and there. But,
Same board quality, same token quality.
yeah.
It doesn't change much.
Most of the aesthetics, I think, are in the artwork on the cards,
Yeah.
which it does add some cards, but it's not
same-
different or more.
Same style of artwork. You know, there's some different art, but it's the same style. So,
And I know that the artwork is sort of loosely based or pretty closely based on the new movies. So
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they pumped out these 2 expansions before the second movie even came out. So I wonder if I haven't really looked through the cards closely to see if there's art or things
Spoilers.
depicted in it that are not yet in the that weren't in the first movie. Or so it'd be interesting to see if there's not representation from the new movie coming up. So.
yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Yeah,
That's a
for
good
sure.
question. And the problem was is the board game the movie was very delayed. The original board game was supposed to come out with the movie,
Right.
in conjunction with the movie, but because the movie had so many reshoots, the board game came out early. So I'm wondering if it's going to be the opposite this time. When we see the movie, will we think back and see the artwork and say, "Oh, there it is"?
Bit of a help.
I had assumed that Immortality had a lot to do with the second one because I don't remember anything
Yeah.
of the Trill
The
accident.
genetics or,
I
yeah.
remember vaguely some of it from the books, but not from the movie.
Yeah.
I do have a thematic question. Are the dreadnoughts supposed to be spaceships or land vehicles? And
They definitely look land in the in what we've got here in front of us.
but looking at the block on the technology tree, it looks like a spaceship to me.
See, and this is what I love about having Max here. He is so into the theme. There were a few times Rob told him to zip it up. Your theme
Zip
is
his
theme out.
theme. Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
it.
We're playing a game here.
I have to have theme,
Yeah.
or else it's just
That's why I love.
There's-
That's why I love playing with Max.
There's the there's the guild highliners that transport all the ships, but those ships are kind of dreadnoughty, and they probably have or both. They do space and they go in, at least depending on which depiction of the book or movie you're reading. So,
Okay. Kind of like a transport thing.
yeah.
All right, so let's get into the N of the beans, the negatives. I'll start us off. One of the negatives that I had is the dreadnoughts. I really expected super cool. Like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. I'm not gonna want to play without them, but then I find there's only one space to buy them. So the one time that I had the money and the opportunity to buy it, like the desire to, like I was ready to go buy into them. Again, this is what Dune does. I got no green cards in my hand to be able to go to a green location. So I had to wait to the next turn to be able to get my first dreadnought.
Same thing happens with the Swordmaster.
Yeah, it's tough
Block
getting those
shell.
green cards to be able to get there. So it's not easy getting a dreadnought, but you know what? Maybe that's part of the theme. It's a dreadnought. Shouldn't be easy.
There's a few other ways with cards and intrigue cards, but
We just haven't seen them yet.
well. The nice thing though is the dreadnought's really not that overpowered. It's only one more combat strength higher than an infantry unit. But the bonus
It's
is
that
it doesn't
passive
go
ability
away.
to be in the
Be in
combat.
the combat even when you're not.
I
in
didn't
the
know this,
combat.
Wayne.
Yeah.
The dreadnoughts, as long as you have one in your garrison, if
Yeah.
you reveal any combat power, either on your reveal step or as part of an entry card, you're in the fight. That dreadnought doesn't have to be in the fight. Like it's got,
Right.
it's almost like
got
ranged
range.
combat.
Yeah.
My
Right.
man, you get it.
Yep.
Anybody else got negatives, ends, expansions? Focus on expansions.
So we got Diego in the chat posted that and I, it was already mentioned that like while you have the atomics card to refresh the card row, you could. It seems like they played Saturday. They got stuck with the tech tiles that no one wanted at the start. So
That's what I was.
Yep.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. So go ahead on that.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting, we've been gobbling them up, though, for the most part. I mean, we've already run one deck completely out. We've got one deck that only has 2 tiles left, and then one that has, looks like 4 tiles left. So, I mean, we've been grabbing them pretty quick, as quick as we can almost, because we're going to almost run those out by the end of the game.
I think, Rob, you've grabbed some, though, and said, I don't care what it is, just give me the 4. Like you were looking to use your spice.
Because a lot of them, when you get them, they give you an immediate thing. Like one of them I got gave me 2 intrigue cards just for getting it. So it's
one
like,
gave me 2 bumps on 2 different influence
Yeah,
tracks.
I was like, I don't care what the ongoing ability is. I just want that immediate thing. And so I got that. I got another one that gave me just I get to choose one of the alliance tracks and go up one of the alliance tracks on a bump. So, I mean, again, all 3 that I'm looking at right now that I've got in front of me are all like in-game scoring. And so I'll see if I can meet those later. But I liked the immediate bonuses that they gave me. So
Did you find that you did more of the technology as the game went on, where it could be like in Diego's case initially, you got a couple of tech tiles that for the first couple of turns no one really wants, and it takes until a certain point in the game when people start buying them and seeing the different ones that they speed up.
They all do require spice to purchase, and spice is still a little bit hard to get in this game. It's a little easier than it was in the base game, I think, but it's still a difficult resource to gather. And so,
no, the same places to get your spice are the same places in this game. The only difference is we're going there because we want it now.
Yeah, now we want the spice.
Before
Maybe
we
that's
didn't want it.
Yeah, maybe that could be it. So so it does take a couple of turns to build up the spice to then be able to go and buy the tech. So yeah.
Now, Rob, you were talking trash about the immortality boarding. You did not bring it up on your negatives.
Oh, I haven't started my negatives yet.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so you're
lean into it.
negatives.
I'm good.
So, I was going to say, overall, I like I say, this game gives you more options. It gives you more things to do, but I'm not. I like it. I'm liking it so far. I'm liking all the options. I'm liking it's stretching my mind now because I played base Dune so many times. This is now giving me more to look at, more to think about, more to do. But I'm not convinced here. Only 3/4 of the way through our first play, but I'm not convinced that I love it better. We'll have to see. But I loved how tight base Dune is. That I have to do the exact right things in the right order to get the right amount of what I need to do what I want to do. And this just opens that up.
Is it interesting? Would it be you would do Dune and Ix, but not Immortality, or Dune and Immortality and not Ix? Maybe not
Personally,
both of them?
Personally, I think yes. I definitely think I like Ix better than the Immortality. We had a disagreement. We talked about that a little bit right before we came on, and just here at the table, some of us like the Ix better, and some of us like the Immortality better. But I'm definitely an Ix guy. I think the Ix adds kind of what I want, the Immortality. And maybe it's just because I haven't leaned into the Immortality on this one. I'm at 0.
Yeah, I don't think you've gone there. You and I really haven't gone there.
Yeah, Carlos and I are both at 0 on one of the tracks, and we're both just one bump in on the other track. These two guys are 6 and 8 in on one track, and then like 6 and 8 in on the other track. So I mean, they went that way, we didn't. So I don't know.
I've only played with Immortality. I think this is the 3rd time.
Okay,
So I mean, I was stretching it out a bit, but
We don't want to hear your biased opinion yet. Let's go to Max. You bought the game. You're going to love it.
Yeah, of
Max,
course
what's
you
your
will.
negative?
Well, just to add on, like what Rob said, not really much of a negative, but I don't think you're taking if you were playing without the expansions, I think it'd just be just as much of an enjoyable game.
Yeah,
I mean, on the surface, the game itself is already awesome to begin
Yeah.
with.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's a valid point.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
I think it's still good even without the expansions. I mean, if you want them, play them.
Yeah.
All right,
It gives me a
Jim.
change, but yeah.
We know you're biased. You
Well-
bought it. You paid for it. You're going to love it. What's the negative?
well, Ix. For me, Ix is a must. It's like Prelude for Terraforming Mars. You got to have it.
Okay.
I can't think of any negatives. Immortality, I'm still like the separate deck and the grafting. It adds a lot more. That really amps the complexity up, and I think draws it out a little bit more. Like I said, I like it for the fact, like, if you're just played it a lot and you want something different, it's there. But in general, I'm fine with just Ix.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with the final letter of the beans, which is the S in summary. We're going to go around, and I like to say buy, try, or deny. And remember, we're focusing on the expansions here. So we'll go back in snake order. So, Max, back to you. Buy, try, or deny on these expansions. And you can
Try.
split them up if you like.
Try them both for sure.
Try them both.
Automatic buys, but tries. Okay. And Jim's already bought them, so yeah.
Bought and keeping.
bought and keeping, so he's not interested in getting.
What would you recommend to the folks at home on the individual expansions?
Definitely X. I think X is a must. Immortality, if you play it a lot and you want something different.
All right.
I think I agree. I think that's a pretty right on the point. I'd say Ix is. I don't know if it's a prelude for me. It does good things. Again, it gives you some different ways to spend your spice, which for me, and again in the plays that I've had probably more than half the games where I just seem to accumulate spice. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just keep going up there and trading it in for money. All right, let's go back up there and trade it in for money. And it's not like there was not enough things. So I really fixed that for me, and it adds enough extra now that I've played the base enough times. It gives me that next level, next group of things to think about. Immortality, like I say, I haven't loved it. Maybe it's just because I haven't leaned into it. I haven't done enough with it. But Immortality's it's okay for me.
Yep. I'm going to go very similar to Rob. When it comes to Ix, I'm going to call it a buy.
Are you? Yeah.
I think with the addition of the Dreadnoughts, the addition of the tech cards,
If you like
the
Dune.
change of the top right track to a interstellar shipping track, all that alone to me has really brought out, which I already like Dune. I know I talk trash about it. I do like Dune. I do like it. This really ramps it up for me. When it comes to Immortality, I am really close to a
a pass? Almost?
Right,
Oh,
a deny.
Really?
Well,
Really?
I mean, you hadn't even tried it.
Yeah, you haven't even touched that board over there. You haven't even done the thing. Yeah.
He's looked at it. That's about it.
Yeah.
So I will say it's a try. It's definitely a try. I don't think it'll ever, even with additional trying, I don't think it'll ever reach buy status.
Okay.
I think that's like Jim talked about. It's the more. Like if you want more of this, get that. Otherwise, it doesn't change too much.
Except for the atomic token.
Oh, but see, you can. I can make you one out of like cardboard.
Yeah.
And we can add that as a house. Like that should be a house rule in basic Dune any day.
I mean, as soon as Immortality came out and it was reviewed by the Dice Tower and Tom and then we're talking about that atomic token, this is before I even bought the expansion. So I said, I'm going to implement that even in the base game. Just say everyone has an atomic token that you can use once to. That's like a no-brainer. Like
I don't care if it's a blue M&M you put on your table and you have to eat it to use it, but that rule's happening.
One thing we haven't talked about, the solo version of this is actually pretty good. And there's one thing, if you wanted a house rule you could bring in from the solo version, is there's 2 dice that I have in the box. You roll them, and whatever numbers come up is the numbers you take out of you refresh in the Imperial roll row.
Okay. So that keeps those cards cycling.
That could fix that a little bit for you.
Yeah. A couple of fresh cards every round.
I like that. And that's part of the staleness of the game for me. The game feels like there's a lot more movement of the decks. There's an additional deck to buy because of Immortality, so I feel like there's more options of cards to buy. I'm putting in a much more bigger variety of cards into my deck, and I feel like I have a bigger deck than normal.
Yeah, you do.
It's on that note, that's gonna wrap up our
Not even
Give it to
10
me.
o'clock yet, guys.
Have we not
Come
hit
on.
the hour yet? No. All right. Yeah, it's only 9:34 here Eastern. So
that was our Give It the Beans for the expansions to Dune X, as well as Dune Immortality.
All right, folks, that's your cue to call. 813-618-7099. Call and talk to us about it. If you played it, if you haven't played it, what you think about what we've done. We got our first caller coming in.
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Ron Frazier from Atlanta.
Rob Frazier, how are you, my man?
Ron.
Hey, were
I'm
you
good.
keeping up with the show?
Yeah, I was waiting till you got to the end so that I can call in.
All right. Yeah, that's a thing. We got to talk about that a little bit because I think people do feel like we got to finish what we're talking about before they can call. It seems like every time.
I try to compress it into 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But this was good.
We never finish a topic, really.
Yeah, that's all right.
You also have 4 people there
Yeah.
giving their opinions on the game, and then 2 people like remotely. So there's a whole lot of people that have some things to say.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I love it. Listen, yo, when I started this thing with Rob, I know it was just him and I, but my big dreams were like, I want a studio packed with people. I even told Rob
Well, I
this.
told him to
Ron,
stay away from that.
I
but
even
yeah, go
told
ahead.
Rob
Yeah.
I wanted to set up I bought a second mixer board for this, a second studio in the other room where like there's cameras over there and there's cameras over here, and like it jumps back and forth, and we're all together.
I told him you're going to kill the call-in thing, though. People aren't going to call. But Ron calls. Ron calls every week. What you got going on, Ron?
So I was interested in you guys' opinions about the expansions for Dune Imperium. Did I hear correctly that there's a solo mode for this?
Jim?
Yes, there is. I enjoy it a lot. I play a lot of solo modes because mine's always going. It's not hard. It's not complex. You just like one deck rolling through. And then they were talking about the Imperial roll being stale. It made me think about that. That has a mechanism where you roll dice to clear the Imperial roll. So that might be like a nice house
That's a nice
rule.
house rule.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I don't play a ton of solo games, but Dune is probably the one I've played probably the most in the last 2 years. I've played it a few times solo, and it has a free app that you can get from their website, and it runs the solo thing. You don't even need to use a solo deck really. The app is really good to run it, and it's a good game. Yeah, it's pretty,
Nice.
pretty smooth. Yeah.
Sweet.
At worst, it gives you experience on how to play the game if you want to play it with people afterwards.
No one in my circle actually has Dune Imperium, and so like I have spoken on a previous call when we talked about comparing Dune Imperium with Arnak and where we fall on that side, and I prefer Arnak to Dune Imperium because
Wrong. Wrong. Keep going.
I like Arnak.
Don't listen to this man. Don't listen to that man.
But Wayne made a very good point when we did this discussion about like having the stand-up moments where you just don't get that in Arnak. So like so I can see that point. But like I was saying before, no one in my friend group has it, and I've been contemplating buying it, and so this discussion was useful because I think I'm just going to go with the Rise of. I'll get it because I've played it a few times at conventions. I think I'm going to get that with the Rise of X expansion and skip the other one.
Good call.
Or at least wait. Yep. Maybe when I get down there at Dice Tower East, I get a chance to play it. But so yeah, this is a useful conversation. And I was really waiting to hear you guys talk.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was just saying, you speak of stand-up moments. We didn't quite have one. We're a little disjointed tonight because we had the show and stuff, and Carlos was starting setup. But we had a moment not too long ago where Carlos threw a whole crap ton of guys.
19
points worth of guys into the final battle. And I think it was 19-0 at that point, was it?
Yes.
Nobody was even in there yet. And then Carlos started setting up some of the cameras and stuff for the show, and so he comes back, and his next turn, he comes back and sits down, and Jim was like, okay, I just won that battle. And Carlos was like, what? How did that happen? And Jim threw in 22 points worth of guys. 23 points of guys on his turn and completely stole the 2-point victory points out from under Carlos. So that was, if we would all been here and been engaged, that probably would have been a stand-up moment. So
was it all like cards and intrigue and not guys or?
No, there was a red army, dreadnoughts and troops, and
I actually ran out of troops. I could have had more in.
Yeah, he ran out of guys to put on the board. So
I don't want to think about it.
Max kind of run over that one too.
Well, for you folks at home that have played the game, it was the combats each round have an objective that's visible at the start of the game in 3 tiers: first, second, and third place. This first place combat winner was going to win 2 victory points. So it's one of the few cards that has 2 victory points.
Sometimes
that's usually when you
yeah.
like. I had my green tide, my green horde of army. Because it was 2 points. Like I wanted everything in there.
That's what Carlos's faction does. That's his specialty. He gets.
I got the Drax
combat,
character.
So, yeah.
Well, Drax. What's his name?
Drax. Wrong
Bautista.
Wrong IP.
The
Beast.
Yeah.
Bautista. I got his character, and that's part of what's cool about this game that Ron, I think it makes it a buy as well. The tie into the IP in this one, because it's not based on the novels. This is based on the film, the major motion picture. All the artwork is the actresses and actors, and so
That
really
familiarity is there.
Yes, I had the movie going while we were playing, So, when you're waiting
Of
for
course.
Max to take his 15 minutes to figure out what card to buy, you can kind of watch the
man.
movie. It was
Real
true.
shade.
I mean, tell me I'm lying, Max.
Lies.
Carlos
That's why
just wanted
people
to
don't
watch.
show up in the studio.
Carlos just wanted to watch Sting.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
All right, Ron, I know you got something else to
The
talk
old
about.
one.
You've always got something on the back burner. What else? What is the other topic for tonight?
So I played The Godfather on Saturday.
Ah, nice.
My regular game group, and I don't think it ever got an expansion, but it's a crying shame that it didn't. Maybe it didn't sell well enough. So
Wait,
I
when you
don't
say The
recall us
Godfather,
talking
this
about
is the recent Kickstarter
Corleone.
that delivered?
I think he's talking
No,
about
no,
the Eric
Corleone.
Lang.
Eric Lang.
Oh,
Corleone's-
Eric Lang,
Yeah, Eric Lang's
Godfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. I've played.
Yeah,
I've only
like-
played it once, but it's good.
Yeah, even when you read the rule book, like it's clear that there were at least tentative plans for an expansion because you have the family members. It's a worker placement, area control, area majority game with some negotiation if you play it that way, and the miniatures, the circle bases are the family members. And like for the base, for this, it's like says in the rules, the base game, they are basically the same, but they named those family members. So that combined with the fact that they mentioned in the core rules, there's no difference. So it's like, oh, they were going to do something with these, with those, and so it's just unfortunate that we didn't get an expansion for it because it's really fun. It's brutal, man. Like fighting for those areas, man. And we played a 4-player game. I wish we had a 5th player because that would have been, it would have been even tighter.
How long did your game take?
Oh, that's not a good measurement for my particular group because two of the guys in my GP.
So you're
saying
saying
that-
it wasn't a Mitchell.
My man, I was going to say Mitchell would be disappointed.
Mitchell would have flipped the table. I think we took, I want to say, like the guys that got here at 3, we ended up getting in it to about 3:45. I think we played for, there's no think about it. I know that we played for over 2 hours. Easily.
That's okay.
Not for Mitchell, though.
You think that's okay?
I think so. I'm fine with one nice long game for the evening, having fun with friends.
But,
8 or 9 hours.
But check, you got the BGG play stuff. Check the play time because I was, from what I recall, the play time on the box is free.
Says
Estimate
60,
on the box
60 to
is
90
pretty
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. And so, like, I've played other games of it with at least one of those guys missing, and I know that we can get it in under 2 hours. So the fact that we were playing like 2.5 hours, it was a little long, but I had fun. I hadn't actually played with those guys in several months, so like I hosted, which was great. Hadn't done that in a long time. But yeah, just especially like I don't think I've heard it from James or your guests there. If you guys have ever played The Godfather: Corleone's Empire.
I played it a long time ago. I've been looking for it. Whoever Wayne is driving check BGG. See, there's an expansion because I could swear I saw it at a flea market.
No expansions.
No.
No.
I remember last year at Dice Tower East and Tom Vassal's sale, they had a full decked out version of it.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right when the pandemic started, this was in there was all the not Kohl's, maybe Kohl's.
Was it TJ Maxx? I swear I
Maxx.
saw it in
Oh, yeah.
TJ Maxx.
Yeah,
One of
that's
those
right.
places had it. It was like $10 or $15,
right.
and
Yep.
it sold out super quick. Everyone ran out and bought it, and I'm like, I missed out.
Oh, I wrote it off the moment I heard it was at TJ Maxx. Like, I'll never even try to play it. But based on what Ron is saying, maybe I'm missing
It's,
something.
it's pretty decent. Yeah, it's a good game. I played it one other time. It's been a while, but it's good.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
Yeah. It's Eric Lang.
So
I'm surprised it hasn't
Eric Lang.
shown up at any of our.
Right.
Yeah.
Ron, you got to bring it. Got to bring it.
Yeah, Dice Tower East.
I'm sure Dice Tower will have it.
Well, less than 2 months now.
Oh, it's gotta be in the library.
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
If I bring something, it'll be something that'll probably be War of the Rings, which I have painted up.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, great call again.
Speaking of which,
Go ahead.
I know Robin, you got a chance to play it yet?
Which one? Lord of the Rings?
War of the Rings.
I have
War
not.
of the Rings.
Yeah, I mean that's one I'm dying to play, but I definitely want to play it with somebody who's experienced. I think William said that he has it and he knows how to play. It's been a long time since he's played, so maybe I'll get a chance to play with William at some point, but probably not. It'll probably be a Dice Tower type game. So I mean, if we want to try to get something together,
Why would you want to play that
if you
game? It's
don't-
thematic.
no, yeah, I'm playing it for the mechanics.
There's
It's
plenty of
channeling inner
them.
Hobbit.
There's dice.
Yeah.
There's dice rolling in it. So,
Oh, that hurts.
But you got to try it.
Oh,
Anyway, But that was
Yeah, even if you don't finish the game, at least running through the learning of the game.
Oh, I'll finish it. But I'll play it all the way through, even if dice.
You know, you've played Nemesis twice as much as you hated it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think you'll be fine playing War of the Ring
I'll
once.
suffer through it if I have to. But
He's
yeah, I mean,
getting a couple side-by-side games going to War of the Ring at Dice Tower Con.
it sounds good to me. I'm sure.
Wayne, you got a copy, right?
I have the first edition
that's
copy.
right.
Okay, but they got
That'd
a
make it
copy.
easy for teaching because then you can ask questions back and forth. All right, so like Wayne and I can have a table. Ron and Rob can have a table.
Yeah, I mean, Ron's got to have his copy. I'm sure Dice Tower's got a copy. So,
you know,
yeah.
with the four of us, it'd be like an Oreo sandwich. Like Ron, you know,
Whoa, now.
Rob,
Whoa.
Wayne,
in
and
the middle
Carlos.
and Carlos on the end. Yeah,
It'd be awesome.
I don't know.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah. eject.
I love you, Rob. Ron.
Ron. Thanks, Carlos.
That was a Freudian slip there.
Good night, Ron.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks,
See ya.
Ron.
Take care.
Valid point with the Corleone's empire. Like, if Lang was still there with Simon, would that have been a product that they would? I mean, you see, most of the games come with 18 expansions on day one.
Yeah.
So he's talking about seeing different formats of miniatures on there, like the bases in different shapes, which would indicate that they were eventually going to use them for something different. So God knows what happened. Like, why the separation?
Yeah. Another call coming in.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Chris from Austin. How y'all doing?
Hey, how are you?
Hello.
Hello, Chris.
Doing great.
Good
Glad
to
to
hear.
hear. We are playing games in the studio. It's been a fun April and May. We've gotten a lot of games in studio before the show. We appreciate you calling in. What do you got going on?
Kind of similar thing. I got some game nights this weekend. Birthday weekend. One with family, one with friends. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Sweet. What did y'all play?
Well, it hasn't happened yet. It's gonna be
coming
this
up.
weekend. It's gonna be Saturday night and Sunday night.
Gotcha. Well, do you have games on the slate? Anything that you must play, or are you just gonna kind of go with whatever comes up?
I haven't quite decided on the Sunday. I'm kind of waiting for RSVPs to come through. I've got a couple already signed up, but I don't know about everybody yet. So I'm waiting on Sunday, but on Saturday, since it's like my parents and sister, they're not gamers. So try to pick stuff that's a little lighter. So I'm going to actually teach them Citadels, the new re-implementation that came out.
Nice.
5-6 years ago.
A little.
But Citadels,
Eric.
man, and I think they're going to really like it. Yeah, and I've got I don't use the base characters for all the numbers 1 through 8. I'll like swap out different characters, make it more interesting, and so it's going to be fun. We got that one for sure on the docket.
Does your copy have the butterscotch buttons?
Yeah, it does.
Look like little
Actually,
butterscotch candies.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got the older folks there, you better warn them.
Werther's
These are
Originals.
not Werther's.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, no.
Well, I sent him a video already. My mom's already watched the how to play video.
Dude, that is
Right,
pretty
right ahead of
cool.
time.
Yeah.
Send it out to the family members. Be like, you got to watch this, or
Nice.
you're not coming over.
Well, I made the excuse that it's my birthday, so I want you to be up to speed on stuff. And she was funny. She said, "I'm gonna watch it a second time, and then I can beat you." But she's pretty competitive, my mom.
Nice.
That is
Nice.
awesome.
Nice. Max
Yeah.
brushed up on some videos before he came here tonight. Me and Carlos were like, whatever, just teach it to us. But Max was like, I've been watching videos, and he was helping teach the game.
Well, it's usually the other way around. I usually just come in and be like, all right, let's play.
Yeah.
Because I know Rob usually already has the best strategy ready to go.
Oh, yeah, sometimes, but yeah. What else you got going on, Chris?
Well, I was going to bring up Dune a little bit. It's one of those games that I've wanted to play, but in my new kind of game circle here in Texas, I don't have anyone that owns it at the time. So I'm going to try to play it, I think, online, maybe like on Tabletop Simulator or something. I have a gaming group in Colorado. I lived there for a decade. And all of those guys have pretty much all the hot games. So I'm probably just going to set up a time with one of them online and just play it because I've got to play it because I love Arnak. So I know I'm going to like it.
Yeah, we were talking about. I mean, it's tight enough that it's a worker placement game. There's not a whole lot of complexity to the base game. Just again, in my opinion, what makes it brilliant is just it's tight, and everybody who plays this, some people hate it for that reason, but it's just everything. Yeah, Carlos for a while there, but it's just again, if you make a mistake, it can kind of mess up your whole round, and then you're like, next turn, I got to reset again. I got to wait till I get my cards, see what my options are, build a new strategy that next turn. So it's a game that when you play it the first time, you're probably going to be like, oh, well, I would have done that different if I knew that those cards were out there, or that that's kind of the way, the path to get to where I wanted to be. So, but it's every time I play this game, at least the base game, this is my first kind of wider experience with it. But the base game, every time somebody plays, almost without fail, I've taught this to a lot of people. The first game, people are like, "Oh, I'm $1 short, or I'm 1 spice short of doing this awesome thing." This, destroyed my whole turn. And so until you play it 3 or 4 times, you kind of start working that out, and you kind of figure out what you need. But in my opinion, it's a brilliant game. It's going to go on this big board behind me here shortly when we talk about that here later in the show.
Right.
But yeah, definitely a top 20 for me.
It's not on there already.
I hadn't
We
played
haven't
it
played it this year.
Yeah, it's the only
for
games
this
we
year.
played.
You're
since
only
the start
allowed
of
to
the
put
year.
games you played this year on the board.
Yeah, so. Well, you have a.
So is the economy just really tight in it? Like kind of like Great Western Trail, where
It is.
you're just always out of money.
It is.
Trying to
Yeah.
sell cattle.
It seems like the thing you want to do requires 8 spice, and then when you're looking at the board, it's like I can only get 7. Okay, well let me do a money thing, so I can get 5 Solari, but no, I need 6 to do the really cool thing. So, yeah,
There is also a little engine building. I think Jim's got his engine building going pretty good in this game.
there's deck building is a big part of it. So yeah, if you build that engine, you get that deck going. You can either get a lot of cards and just do a lot of different things, or you can streamline and weed some cards out, just kind of play the same cards over and over.
You're only drawing 5. Chris, did you say you played Arnak?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have the expansion and then the second expansion on pre-order.
So
I love Arnak.
I'll liken it to this. In Arnak, right, you've got some limitations. You've got the left side of the board. You need some Jeep cards to get up there, right? The right side of the board, you need your boat cards to get up that way. But at the end of the day, you can just spend money and hire a plane. Right, so yes, the cards can limit you in where you get to place your workers. So remember, the first time I played Arnak, I was like, I only get 2 workers? What is this? Like, this is too tight. But when you come to Dune, right, they didn't divide it in 2, boats and cars. It's divided into 3, green, blue, and yellow spaces. So, and then the cards that you get.
The influence tracks.
4?
Yeah.
Where's the
Well,
4?
tracks,
The influence tracks.
Yeah, influence
Oh,
tracks.
yeah, that's right. The influence track
Yeah.
with the facts. So 4 different types of spaces. So now your 5 cards are going to dictate which of those 4 different types of spaces you're going to have the opportunity to go for. One bad draw, and you're not going anywhere you think you need to be.
And there is no buying an airplane in this.
Correct. And that's what I was going to say.
I was getting you there.
There is no goal to buy an airplane. There'll be a hand where like, okay, I need to get to a green location to do my long-term plan. Oh, I got no green cards. I say that as the brown guy at the table.
Yeah.
I got
No green
none. I can't go get my extra worker. I can't go buy a dreadnought. I got all this money, and I'm just going to waste my time getting water and getting spice.
So in Arnak, though, there's 5 rounds. I forget the
5 or 6. Whatever that
rounds.
staff is at the top. Is it 5?
Five
Okay.
So in Arnak, when you put yourself in a corner like that, it's much more detrimental. Here, there's 10
There's
rounds.
options.
Where so you got one bad round, it doesn't kill you. But I notice an Arnak where you get bad cards and bad combination one round, you're done.
Well,
Valid. So you're balancing the length of the game to give you time to kind of like baseball, 190 games to get out of your slump and get it fixed, or it's a quick game where the rounds are, more open,
more impactful. Yeah.
Arnak quicker, less rounds, more open. So there's our thoughts, Chris.
but with the new expansion,
Right.
with the immortality, the grafting is supposed to help you manage your space blocked or where you're not be able to place, because you could play the second card and put your agent in the second card or the first card.
Oh,
But
Opens up,
that's you
yeah.
got to play chess to do that. I only play checkers.
Yeah, you got to get the grafting thing going. You got to get the right cards. You got to pair them up. Yeah.
So based on our review and our thoughts, it sounds like you're interested in making this a purchase for you and your household.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna play it like once online, and I'm sure I'll be sold from the first playthrough. I mean, it just sounds like one of my kind of game. I love the combination of worker placement with deck building.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like it too. I've been looking to buy it as well.
But Rob has a copy. Jim has a copy.
Exactly.
It's like, why?
Carlos doesn't need a copy.
I have Arnak with the expansions.
He doesn't need a copy. He'll have it next week.
I have Goon and Arnak with the expansion.
Well, thank you, Chris, man. Oh, is it your birthday this weekend?
Yeah, actually, well, technically it's next week, like Monday, but yeah, it will be, celebration time this weekend, right?
There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Have a happy birthday. Thank you for being a regular caller on the show. You've made the list of regular callers. We really appreciate you, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, guys. And I got one non-related Dune question if you guys have a few more minutes.
Fire.
The show is yours, sir.
Okay. All right. So I was watching a video by Paula Denning this week, and she put up a video about two-player games.
I was watching it last
So I
night.
have a question for you guys. Yeah, there you go. So what are your guys' favorite two-player games? They don't have to be two players. They can just games at two players.
I know my favorite.
I know,
Go ahead, Mike. If you got yours.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead. We'll go West Coast.
Undaunted without a. I'm not
Really?
even gonna stall on that one. Undaunted is my favorite two-player game.
Which Undaunted? Have you played multiples or just the first one?
I've played the first two. So
Is it North Africa and Stalingrad?
no, Stalingrad is the new one, which
That's the newer one.
I'm looking
Okay.
forward to getting. Normandy is the
Normandy.
first
That's
one.
right. Normandy.
But
Yep.
I've played both that one and North Africa, and they're just so much fun, and the tension in the game. The one mechanic of playing the one card for initiative, and if you really got to go first, you're going to probably be dumping a really good card, and you're just left with possibly lower cards in your hand. It's just a fun game, and the scenarios that you play through, you figure some of them, depending on which side you're playing as, you're just like, there's no way I'm going to win this one. And then once you start getting into it and you get a few lucky shots off, there is some dice rolling in it, but that's okay.
That's
But
fine.
you get a few lucky shots off and you're like, oh, all right, well, maybe I got a chance in this one now, So that's my favorite two-player game.
All right, Wayne.
I'm going to go a tie and between Jaipur and Targi are probably my two favorite two-player
Tie,
games.
huh?
Yeah.
We're allowed to do that, huh? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
We'll go to our guests.
All right. You guys have any thoughts? Yeah.
I'm gonna say two as well, a heavy one and a light one. For heavy, without a doubt, is Star Wars Rebellion.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, it is an absolute. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, it's great. You're on the edge of your seat. I mean, you're a race against time to either find the rebel base or evade the Empire. And then the expansion even makes it even better.
Yeah.
Where
are your easy rebel one?
friends?
I love it.
Haven't played the expansion yet.
And the
but,
theme,
Yeah.
the theme's great, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's
Mhm.
Star Wars. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. We talked a lot about. Yeah.
Yeah. And then light, patchwork.
Oh,
That's,
Patrick's
you know,
good.
that's
Good one.
That's a
For
name.
any non-gamer, that's a gateway game for me to show people.
Jim.
Two-player games are only two players.
No, Chris
Or
said
a game
just
that's
your
No.
favorite two-player. It doesn't have to be two-player only. What you like playing at two players.
Yeah. Favorite games of two players.
So light, and I just picked it up this week, is Hanamakoji.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, great
Love
game.
that game.
I think I might have taught you that one.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Yeah,
did.
I've
You
taught a
taught me
handful
that
of people
one,
that
too.
one. Yeah, and I've taught to Dan. I've taught a bunch of people that one. But yeah, great game.
And then outside of just the two-player realm, Space Station Phoenix
Oh,
at
real?
two-player is very
I don't know.
interesting.
Is it? I haven't played it too.
Because you could play the other person's ships.
Right?
At two-player, it gets very strategic.
Little cutthroat back and forth.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Seven Wonders Duel is the one that jumps in my head. I know that's a popular pick. That's on a lot of people's top 10s. It's such a good game. And I had only played Seven Wonders once before I had played Duel. And I think Carlos taught me Duel, and we played the heck out of Duel. We played Duel a lot. So as far as a quicker, lighter game, what's the well, it's actually kind of being replaced
Cities.
now. What's that? Lost Cities. Yeah,
Yes.
that was not the tip of my tongue. I was also going to mention what's the Starship Battling one now that's being replaced by the new Star Wars deck builder. Star Realms.
Star Realms.
Realms.
Star Realms is a really fun.
Yes.
If you just need a quick little head-to-head deck builder.
building.
Yeah, that's a fun one. So those are some of my favorites.
I'm glad to hear that Rob's touched so many of y'all with his
Oh,
Hanamakoji.
I've touched a lot of people.
It is
For
after
me-
10 o'clock.
Yes, it is.
Oh, is it?
10:01,
It's official.
10:01 Eastern. We're good.
He's a pyrotechnician.
Yeah, there you go.
But I will say, for me, since y'all broke it up into two, I get to break it up into two. Like, if you ask me what's my favorite two-player game, it's going to be Memoir 44, right?
Ooh,
And just about anything in that Command and Colors line,
That's good.
right? But you know, that's board game, but I still think that's war game. Like, it's very more war game than board game. So let me go board game. Board game, I will go Baseball Highlights 2045.
Really?
I really like Baseball Highlights
It's
2045.
good, but best, really? Your favorite?
Well, you already gave Seven Wonders
okay,
Duel.
all right,
You
so-
gave the
Say
good
the
one.
So
same
you're just
thing.
doing that because I said
change
that.
it up.
Okay, so yeah, let's be clear then. The Seven Wonders Duel would be at the top.
It
Okay,
was on
yeah.
my top 20.
All right,
It
well, there you go.
recently
All right.
dropped off,
Yeah.
and
okay.
Baseball Highlights 2045 hasn't made it on the list.
There we go.
But that's
Yeah.
an honorable mention. That is a strong two-player baseball stylized game with deck building or
A
deck
lot of people say it's one of the
construction.
best deck builders out
There's a
there.
little
Yeah.
bit of deck building. Yeah.
I mean, I got to play
gotta play the
against.
season. Yeah.
I got to play against the Berkey, the maker of
Oh yeah.
Game Toppers,
Yep.
the guy who made this table.
Yep.
that I'm sitting
Oh,
at.
awesome.
I got to meet him at Dice Tower
He's a
last
nice
year,
guy.
and he whooped my butt. It was close though. It was close, but
And actually, I got to play it. It reminds me, I got to play it right after it came out. Mike Fitzgerald, the designer, was teaching it at Dice Tower, the second Dice Tower that I went to, which was Dice Tower 3, I think. And I got to play against Rob Oren. I didn't even know who he was. I got paired up with him. They were doing a learn to play. Yeah, me and Rob Oren played with Mike Fitzgerald standing over our shoulder, teaching us how to play. So that was really cool.
it is a good game.
Yeah.
There's my two titles, Chris.
And Chris, we
What
got to
about
flip it on
Chris?
you.
What are your
Excellent.
two? Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Fire away. So Marble Champions for me is my
Ooh.
number one game player.
Nice.
I love
Good
it.
one.
I play it with my gaming friends, man, because we usually balance our characters out, where one's good at one thing, one's good at another, one's good at attacking, one's good at getting rid of threat, whatever, some kind of combination like that. So I love it. I love the combinations, replayability with all the bones, awesome. And then my second one, I'm just going to say, is Dice Throne, because I play it all the time with my son. He loves that game. It's his favorite game. And I've season 2, season 1, and Marvel. They have just so many characters to choose from, and he just loves that game. So
Nice.
those would be my top two.
Good calls. Good calls.
good
I'm looking
ones.
at Dice Throne right over there. Carlos has got it sitting right next to us.
Yep, played it with the boys.
Yep.
Dice Throne
Nice.
to me is King of Tokyo for two players.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then a couple of honorable mentions and see if you guys have played these. Battle Line Medieval or just Battle Line.
That's a good one.
I got 'em
like the
both.
medieval
I
version.
got 'em
Oh, let's go.
both.
Oh, I want to play.
There you go.
And
See, I knew it.
Shot and Totten,
Oh yeah, they're
The,
based
Yeah,
off
Shot
of.
and
Yeah.
Totten.
the little Irish looking, Scottish looking one.
Yeah. And then Duelosaur Island is a lot of fun too. I played that with my wife, and she really likes that one. It's just got a really cool mechanism where you
Rob's shaking
alternate,
his head.
like draft.
I haven't played it.
Roll the dice, and you pick the combination of like card and dice that you want, but then the other player gets to choose first. And you don't want to give them the best little combo. So it's just got this really cool mechanism with that. I love it. Highly
I
recommend
split, you
Duelosaur
choose.
Island. It's probably underrated. Yeah, I kind of like that. But then you have multiple picks. You go back and forth, and then you're getting these powers and, autonomy. It's really fun. I mean, if you play Dinosaur Island, obviously it's similar to that.
Yep.
But just the two players.
Nice.
Cool.
I played Dinosaur Island, but I haven't
and-
played the
and
Dual
then-
Sword.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it's a little bit lighter. So there's a little less rules, a little less teeth involved. It's fun. And then a couple other ones. Firenze, I think it's out of print. Man, I love that game. Firenze.
Yep.
Ever heard of that?
Forensi,
No.
yeah, I've heard of it. I can't remember who the designer on that one is, but I think it's a big designer. But yeah, it's supposed to be a good one. I haven't played it.
That one's really good. And then another one called Finca, which is unfortunately out of print as well. Finca.
That one I keep hearing about
FINCA.
on Dice Tower, but I haven't ever played that. And actually, I don't think I've ever seen a copy of that in the wild. But I know that's I can't remember if Z or somebody on there likes that one quite a bit.
yeah. So those are my picks.
Sweet.
Nice.
Hopefully, you'll get one played birthday weekend, even if it's not on birthday.
Play them all.
Right.
It's your
Yeah.
birthday. Play
Why not?
play whatever you want to play.
Yeah.
We give you permission.
Tell Mom we said so.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the horn too.
Awesome.
man.
Thanks
Have-
for the shout out.
Have a happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We appreciate you calling.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Talk to y'all later.
See you guys.
See you on the flip side.
Yep. Oh,
love how
Sam
building,
Healy,
Sam
Sam
shout
Healy
out
reference there at the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
snuck
see
that
you
in
on the
there.
flip side.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's
All
going to
right.
watch that new one.
I got to get my word in here because
Get it in.
when Ron was on and he, man, Arnak and
I killed that cat. Sorry, go ahead. Carlos's cat's meowing. Go ahead.
Arnak and Dune Imperium always come up in the same sentence.
Of course they do.
Especially in this show.
And I just shake my head every
Yeah.
single time because I was about to throw out, why do you guys keep comparing the two? And then during this call, you guys are saying, yeah, but this game does this, and this one does it different here, and this one does it different here. Like, you're showing all the differences between the two games where they should not be getting compared to each other.
They both have worker placement. They both have cards and deck building.
Deck
and they
building.
both came out at the same time. That's it. That's
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
that was-
similar, but
that was the
they're
only
not-
word I wanted to
Yeah.
squeeze in there.
I think
Similar
the next
games.
round of Beans and Dice shirts have to have either Team Arnak or Team Dune. And
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe we can do that. Yeah.
No, but we
Dune for
can
life.
we can do it
Yeah.
with check boxes where you can just use a Sharpie to
I
check in
can
the
just do one
box you
standard
want.
Shirt. Yeah. Then
Right.
it tells people just to check off whichever one they want.
Check off
I
the
like
one you
that
want.
idea.
I
Great-
thought there was
great
another
poll.
game that got compared to Arnak. Wasn't it Red Rising or?
Not Red
No,
Rising.
No, not Red
Endless
Rising.
Winter. Endless Winter.
Maybe Endless Winter.
Is that-
That was a newer one.
I
don't-
wouldn't compare those two.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Yeah.
It's deck building with worker placement, right?
Clank, I would say, is similar.
Not really worker placement. Area control, maybe.
Area
But you're not. Yeah, you're not really. Well, there is a worker placement. You got 4 choices.
There
on the
is
whole
a
This is the
worker
worker
Paleo
placement.
American game, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
there's worker placement, but it's one of 4 options, so it's not a whole lot of choices.
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where you're calling from.
Hello, this is Nick from Wesley Chapel, captain of Team Arnak.
Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone.
Wrong answer.
No whammies. No whammies.
Anyway,
One, Mike, I'm glad that you brought us back to the important topic.
of course, yeah, the standard debate.
But I love it. His goal was to like get us off of it, like to educate us as to why we shouldn't be
Shouldn't be
comparing
talking
to
about it, right?
And all he did was elicit more of it.
All right, Nick, how about that
So-
epic game of Frosthaven last night? Woo!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I'm sure you didn't mean to call
I tell
about
you-
that, but go ahead.
No, I mean, well, actually, it's that is the most recent in-person play that I've got. We did have an amazing game of Frosthaven, and I'm loving it. It's every time we do a scenario, it's more than just Gloomhaven's sequel. I mean, it is Gloomhaven's sequel in so many ways, right?
Yep.
It's the same system, which is great. The 2-card system, the top bottom, same general approach to playing the game at large, but just so many refinements and so many small and big enhancements that I love it. It's great. We encountered a couple of different ways of new spins on. I don't want to give any spoilers, but the scenario last night introduced that there were 2 things that we never saw in Gloomhaven that were both small-ish, but really made the scenario fun. One of the ways that one of the monsters behaved was very different, where the elites and regulars weren't really. And so Rob, thinking about it more after the fact, they were even more clever than I think we realized in the beginning. For most monsters, elites and regulars, elites are way more powerful, and regulars are not.
Yep.
Here,
Really?
the whole point. Yeah,
That's the point.
I know. Here, the way this monster worked is they were just different. And one of the cards that came out, they switched. The elites became regulars, and the regulars became elites, and it was a transformation. That's what the card was called, a transformation.
Oh, that's cool.
And just the way that they behaved switched. So the elites, I'll get into it a little bit, I guess. The elites were a melee fighter, and the
Spoiler
regulars
alert.
were
Yeah, a little
ranged. I know, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm not
We got like
saying
5
guys-
viewers. They were fine.
It's over 10.
The regulars were ranged fighters, and then they had the same hit points, which again was one of the big keys on like, oh, this is why. So like if you do 7 out of 10 damage to one of them and then they transform, it's still 7 out of 10 damage. And so right away that was unusual because normally the elites have more hit points. But that was why. It's like they're just a different thing, and one of the abilities they have is they will switch with what form they're in, the melee form or the ranged form. So that was really cool. And then that I won't talk about because it is a big scenario spoiler in the scenario we did. But it was like, whoa, that was really cool. And it totally changed our strategy about how to play the scenario, how to win the scenario, and then it worked, which was really fun. We have never been on a stand-up moments.
Yeah,
we have never been that close. Like we've been down to the wire before. We've been down to a single card draw, and that's pretty much what this was as well. So, from a physical standpoint, yes, it was down to a single card draw, but Joe had exhausted. I had exhausted. So Rob was the last character standing, and he only had one hit point, and this was his last turn. All he could do, for those familiar with Gloomhaven, the long rest is the worst case scenario. Like, I don't have a turn. All I can do is long rest, and then you have initiative 99. You take no actions. It lets you like do a minor heal, and then you have to discard one of your cards. That's all he could do. So he had one hit point within the one character, and he didn't even have a turn. All he could do with his turn was rest.
Was watch.
And
live a little longer.
Live and watch.
Yeah, that's it. And we still won.
And the
scenario
thing
because
happened that
of-
had to happen that won it on the very last card draw. So it was awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, because we're sitting there 2 hours in being like, there is no way we're going to lose.
And I will point out,
Carlos,
I am usually the most pessimistic one in the group. I am usually the first one to throw in the towel. I'm like, we can't win this. Let's just reset this. We're going to waste another hour and a half trying to beat this thing. We are not going to win this scenario. And last night, Nick and Joe both were like, no, we can't win this. This is over. I was like, guys, I got a bunch of cards here. I think let's just keep going. Let's just see how it goes. And for that last hour and a half, I had to keep coaching them along. I was like, guys, just keep doing the thing.
Like
keep
that
doing the
locker
thing.
room conversation. You got coach in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a good
I mean,
moment.
at one point, I mean, they were like with 2 or 3 turns, with 2 or 3 rounds left to go. I remember Joe even just like almost randomly picked the 2 cards that he was going to play because he even said he was like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
matter. I'm just going to play these 2 cards. Yep. I was like, well, Joe,
But I
you
mean,
better
yeah, no,
keep hitting the thing. So yeah.
Yeah, but it was good. It was a lot of fun.
Well, how do you
super
guys
clever.
feel about the news? I mean, it's Gloomhaven number 3 now.
Oh. And does it change our enjoyment of the game where it's ranked?
Pandemic
Gloomhaven-
Legacy
Gloomhaven-
takes the number 2 spot on the BGG all time ever.
Nice, very good. I mean, Gloomhaven is so last year, anyways. It's fine.
Yeah,
always
it's old. It's time.
Yeah.
It's at time.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's not what you called in for, Nick. What's going on?
Oh, well, I mean, that's a big part of the Foster.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah.
It's really good. I did call in just now. Well, one, it's after the 10 o'clock hour, so I can cuss, and that's great. I got out of axe throwing, which is great. And then yes, the Arnak thing. I don't know if you guys actually want to talk. I know you Dune is the topic that you guys were talking about. I just tuned in a little bit on the way home, and I heard Ron talking about how he likes Arnak better, so I made a comment at that point.
It's
And,
okay to
and
be
now
wrong.
I'm calling.
Yeah. You can be wrong.
Yeah, there you go. So I've always said this. I've always said, and here's I think one of the reasons why the 2 games get compared. Why I compare them. There's one thing that I compare, and it actually isn't to say that the 2 games at large in the whole box are the same game with tweaks. They're not, but they both do deck building. They both do a deck building thing, right? And a lot of games do deck building, but yes, like I think Wayne pointed out, they happen to come out at the same time, around the same time, and they both have dual use cards. So the deck building with a dual use card is a little different, maybe-ish, to bring them closer. But the thing that I compare to them and why I'm on Team Arnak is the deck building mechanic that Arnak does. First of all, it builds its deck in two ways. And like people don't talk about this as like a really cool deck building innovation.
Preach.
Right? Like your deck comprised of two different kinds of cards that get added to your deck in two different ways that is so strategic and meaningful and downright fun. It's a better system for deck building. It's so good. As the items go to the bottom of your deck.
Wrong. We got a few disagreeers.
James is choking over there.
Items go to the bottom of your deck, but your deck is small and predictable, and you know when you're going to see that item.
Not when you're
and you
playing
can
with
even
Carlos. He puts these 40 card decks together.
All
but,
about the big deck.
Hey, dude, that's great though. That's fine because you
I
can
never
stay
win
on
though.
place that
I
way.
never win.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Nick,
you know.
your point is valid because the game, Jim, talks about 5 rounds, right? The first 4 rounds, it's 4 options of items, 1 artifact.
See,
And
it's
as the
valid,
game
but
progresses-
it separates the two even more.
Yes, it does separate them.
Yeah,
because
thank you.
why Team Arnak is the answer. It's got a stronger and more innovative deck building mechanic.
Just quit putting the two games in the same sentence. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I would say as opposed to example of here's the sentence. If you want an example of a deck building game that does it super, super well, that's Arnak. If you want an example of a deck building game that is piss effing poor at it, it's Dune. The deck building part of Dune, it shouldn't even be called deck building game. It's not. It's trash.
No, you are wrong.
You get a card. You get a card, and then you might see it once. You add that card. You add that card to your deck. You add that. Okay, you play the game. You play the game.
He's
and you add a
going
card to your
off,
deck,
bro.
We've
And
only
you
3
tell me-
quarters of the way through the game, and I've seen every card in my deck at least 3 or 4 times.
And
go
Arnak
ahead.
does,
Well, then-
Arnak
well,
does
have a
confrontation
crazy type.
wrong.
Yeah, I've got a deck of about 12 cards, but yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess if you got a tight enough deck, it works. Yeah, I'm just saying. When I play Dune, I feel like I add a card to my deck, and I'm like, well, what's the point? I'm gonna see this one time. Like it's so slow. It's so slow.
I couldn't disagree more. In Arnak, you want to get cards because cards are worth points. In Dune, you do not want to get cards because cards are not worth points. You want to build the cards that you need to trigger what you need to do over and over again, and you do not want to bloat your deck. I agree and disagree entirely. Yeah.
Nick, who,
Well, no,
who hurt you?
So you,
Show me on the board where he
So here's the
touched
thing.
you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Rob. Here's the thing. I think you agree. I think you agree that then Dune isn't really a deck building game, and that's I guess my
No.
point.
Oh no,
It's
it
not
definitely
good
is a deck building game. It's even more of a strategic deck building game than Arnak is. I'm going to be a lot more selective about the cards that I put in my deck than I do in Arnak. Arnak, like Carlos will attest to, he's just gobbling up cards for points. He doesn't care so much
Cookie
about,
Monster.
about how they interact and what
But Carlos
triggers
doesn't.
what and-
Carlos doesn't win though, so it's
yeah, well, yeah, maybe a bad example, but
that's kind of.
But
yeah.
what does he win at?
Not much. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I would say in tonight's game, every time somebody buys from the market, they are reaching over, they're grabbing all the cards, they're reading through each one of the cards, they're trying to figure out which card it is they want to put into their deck. It's a much more thoughtful decision than I've ever seen anybody do in Arnak.
And the expansions do let you trash cards more often.
Yeah,
I did see a lot more trash card
Yeah.
icons, which
Yeah.
I think was a positive we didn't bring up during our Give It the Beans. The expansions do allow you to really streamline
Yeah.
and efficiency-fy. Is that a word?
Sure.
Make your deck more efficient.
The character I'm playing right now is all about deck management.
Nick, have you played expansions yet?
No, I haven't. Actually, I haven't played the expansion for either game, which is a sin. It really is. And by the way, just so and everyone listening to Rob and I go at it because this is our job. Full disclosure. I just bought Dune Imperium from
Yes.
the York Turn flea market because of course it is a good game.
Yes.
It's just
It wasn't good to the person that owned it.
They're both great games. It's,
Both
we
they're both
we
good
enjoy the
Splitting
back
hairs.
and forth.
I think
it's
there's
fun.
actually some more similarities too, though, because in Dune you have the factions you're going up, right? So really, the faction increase is like the research track and the other thing, right? Those kind of match up. You have the deck building, you have the worker placement. So the going out into the with your cars and boats is kind of like go into the other various spaces. There are a lot more similarities but they're very like just a veneer of similarity, right? They're kind of similar enough that make people think that they're comparable, but the mechanics are very different.
I think that's what it is that if you do a quick bullet point list of some of the core things in the game, you could skew those lists so it looks like the two games are very, very similar. But
Venn
then you sit down
diagram.
and play them. You sit down and play them, and then it's kind of like, oh, well, these feel so different. And like Mike, I heard you mention like the confrontation in Arnak. It does it wrong. Yeah, it doesn't do it right. That part is completely not there. Dune is a bigger, more gamey game. I think.
And even more now with expansions.
Yeah,
like
there's more going on.
Like
with these
before,
expansions.
I think I told Rob this while we were playing the game, that I'm really enjoying this play way more than I expected, because when I played Dune before, it felt, for a simple deck building game, way too much effort, right? Like I had to put too much brain effort to play this deck building game. These expansions make it where it doesn't reduce the effort. It just makes the payoff better. It makes it more satisfying. I'm seeing more combos. I'm seeing more control.
Well, we'll see where you finish because you're in fourth right now. So
I mean, no, he sees them. He doesn't implement them well, but he sees them. They're there.
yeah,
I see y'all.
yeah.
You're all having a good old time.
What's funny is like the space, the amount of spaces are the same, but it feels like you're not pigeonholed.
As much.
Yeah, it freed things up. Yeah, we've said that several times tonight. I think it gives you a lot more freedom.
It's almost like Champions of Midgard getting its Valhalla expansion.
Yeah.
In Champions of Midgard, like in Dune, it happens. You get some sucky turns where you didn't get to do what you needed to do, and there was no, it's okay, here's a little consolation prize. Now, with the mortality track, yeah, you might move up on the tech track a little bit. You might be able to put some workers on the mutation resource pile and
That'll help you
spend those
later.
workers to get some troops or something.
Yeah.
So there's always like a little something that you get, like a consolation prize.
It's less harsh.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's less harsh.
Like
Yeah.
like Valhalla to Champions
it's
of
the
Midgard.
Skullport. It's the Skullport.
Yeah,
for,
there you go. Skullport's a
Dune
good example.
Imperium.
Yeah, yeah. That's all good.
Good call,
points.
Nick.
Yeah, no, that's what I've got. Everyone should go play Frosthaven and Arnak. And there you go.
Absolutely. I still
Both.
love you, Nick. It's okay. We can still play Frosthaven together.
And then you can teach me. You can teach me the Dune expansion.
Yeah.
And I gotta get the Arnak one. It's silly that I actually don't have it because I love that.
And we got to play it again. I think actually I can pretty definitively say I have played more Arnak than I have Dune, and some of that is because of the length of the game and because of the heaviness.
I invite
of
him
the
over
Dune.
here to play
Arnak
Arnak.
more. So I love them both, and it's fun to kind of poke back and forth at the two. But Dune
They're
is,
both going on the board.
Dune is still definitely in
For
my,
how long?
Yeah,
That's the question.
That's the thing. But yeah, Dune is definitely still my favorite. But anyway,
Thank you, homie.
Very good. All right. Well, I'll leave you guys for the rest of your show. Have a good Thursday night.
appreciate it, Nick. Thanks for calling.
See ya.
Yep. Bye bye.
All right. So at this point, I wanted to get an opportunity before because we can do the board anytime.
Yeah, yeah.
We can come back to the board anytime.
We got a
before
special
we lose
guest,
Jim.
or a couple special guests, but
Well,
one
of them
extra special guest, one
And then
old-timer,
Max.
OG Max. Yeah.
Wow.
Jim Odak, you are number one. You brought me some awesome libations tonight. What did you bring?
Johnny Walker Red.
Oh, so nice. That's my man. You come to us as a member of the board, I believe.
No, just
a member of the club.
The club, yeah.
Member of the club of a local gaming club. What club are you a member of here in the Tampa Bay area? Share who they are and how to find them.
Tampa Gaming Guild is a nonprofit gaming club. Their biggest presence is probably on Meetup, in Discord. Meetup and Discord.
Okay.
They've so basically it's just a couple guys got together that had a pretty decent gaming.
Hey, Rob,
collection.
that's like you and me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Reputation, library. Yeah.
Built a library for the club. Started out downtown and have grown a bit, and now they've moved to a location not too far from here, off of Fowler Avenue and 275. Not too far.
That's not far at all.
No, that's just down there.
There's like a couple Burger Kings and a McDonald's on the way there.
There's a lot of food.
Super
over there.
Walmart.
And Culver's.
Culver's.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't forget the Culver's. Cheese curds, baby.
Wawa.
So I mean, the big drawback is it is pay per membership. Different levels of membership, something around $30 a month. Different things you can pay yearly, whatever. I get it. Some people are turned off by that. You know, I having that place to go to. You know, so they're Wednesday nights, Friday nights, and 2 Sundays a month. And it's growing. The last couple events that I've been to, there's been 12, 15, 16 people there.
Nice. And so, what do you get for the membership? So, what? I mean, there's different levels, but what? Even if at the basic level, what are you buying into?
It's really one level. The higher levels are just people who want to contribute more.
Okay, cool.
It's access to the gaming. You get one guest a month. Anybody could come and play for the first month for free.
Okay.
There is no charge the first month. You could check it out, see if you like it every month, and say the hell with it.
Yeah, and they have a library. So, how many games are we talking about in this library? Any idea?
I don't know the number. Definitely not as big as your turn.
Yeah, okay. Not
But bigger than this.
Not 2,500, but yeah.
Probably almost twice as this.
Nice.
Okay, so I mean, Carlos got a couple hundred here, so maybe 400 or 500 games. Yeah.
There was a time when they were all on
Yeah.
shelves that were on wheels, and they had to wheel them in and out of the building. That was
According
painful.
to BGG, the game there's 469 games in the
Okay,
library.
almost nailed it. Yeah, 400 to 500. Okay,
Yeah.
and they use the membership fees are used to buy new games.
to keep it going, and then buy new games, and then they do other things. They sell like snacks and whatnot, and that's used to buy games as well.
Nice. Okay, and then you mentioned it's every Wednesday and Friday.
Wednesday night, Friday night, starting at 5:30.
Okay.
Officially to 11. A lot of times we go later, much later. And then first and third Sundays of the month, 1 o'clock to 11 again, and sometimes much later.
Okay.
What's the venue like? Like I think about gaming clubs, and Max and I have done a lot of wargaming. We're familiar with wargaming clubs. Like we know what that looks like. What's the building like? Showing up, access to it. What are people going to feel when they go?
So the new site is in the Tampa Bay Bridge Club. So it's used in design for bridge players. So it's got all these little small tables with those machines that add up the bridge scores and all that stuff, and shufflers and whatnot. It's kind of.
And they just moved in there a couple of weeks ago, right? So this is like brand new.
Couple months ago.
Couple months ago. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yep.
Yeah, 2 or 3 months ago.
So it's like a public building in like a shopping mall, or
No, it's just
a single family residence. What are we talking about?
It's I don't know if it was ever a house. It's behind a couple car dealerships. It's not like a retail shop or anything like that.
Okay, so it's like what used to be a home turned into a space to play.
Jim's got some or not Jim. Wayne's got some pictures he pulled up here just for people watching. So little pictures of the inside and some of the members there gaming.
Okay, that's fairly open. So you're not looking at small constricted rooms. I like it.
It's bigger than this room.
Yeah, a little bit bigger in this room. Yeah,
We're in my front den.
We're getting 4 of us in here with like a shoehorn. Yeah. But there's some pictures of the library. So yeah, that looks like they've got a pretty decent sized library there on some was it rolling cards or cards there set up? Nice.
Yeah, there's I think 6 of those now.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
It's been joked at that it's the Lacerda Club. We do play a lot of Lacerda games.
Okay.
But there's different groups and different cliques. There's some people that come play party games more often, and
we shun those folks. Yep.
Yeah, well.
And memberships on a monthly basis? You
monthly,
pay
I think there is an annual option as well.
So you can maybe discount it on an annual fee or something?
Yeah.
And so it looks like you can pay $300 a year or $30 a month to be a regular member, but you can get 30 days free. And then you could also pay a $10 fee and you get 1 free game session, and then just pay $10 every time you go. So if you're not, and I'm just reading straight off the website. So anyone wants to go there, you can go to the TampaGamingGuild.org.
So I am going tomorrow night, and I'm hoping to play Hegemony.
Hegemony? Yeah.
If anybody wants to come and be my guest,
well,
come on.
Well, get it in because I know we want to play with you. Eventually, get a copy or play
we're
of.
We're going to do a pregame play here eventually. We just got to get 4 of us together. I know Samantha mentioned there that it's clean. It's got a kitchen, some nice bathrooms. So drop-in fee if you just want to come occasionally and check it out.
Keena from Nerdy Weds asks, can you bring snacks? That's the kind of question I'm talking about.
Bring your own stuff?
Typically, I get there like about 5:15, and everybody's like sitting down eating their food that they brought before they play.
Okay, order pizzas in or whatever, or whatever.
Grubhub all the time.
Oh, cool, nice.
They have snacks there, like candy bars and potato chips that you can buy. And there's some drinks, and there's a kitchen so you can heat up stuff in the microwave.
Now, for gamers like Max and myself and Zeno, we're big war gamers. We're looking for 4x8 tables, or at minimum like a 3x7 table to get a nice tabletop war game on. what options do they have for us?
So that's been a little bit of a struggle. They've got a couple larger tables. Like we played last week, the Great Wall, which that spreads out, and there's a table that fits it, but it's at that limit. Any smaller would be a problem. There is a big table in the room where all the games are. It's a little warm in there.
Like Command and Colors Epic.
Yes.
Can you play there?
Gotta
What about
bring
you?
your
You
own
could probably
folding
do that.
table.
Yeah.
Oh, we can pack up this game topper.
Game topper we got in there. Yeah.
It'll go.
Yeah.
It'll go.
There's right now they have 4 tables that I think they're about this size.
Okay, this is a good size. This could fit most war games. Many of them.
Yeah. Probably not doing an X-wing on this. This isn't quite 3 feet, but right.
And then I guess the next step is going to be figuring out do they host or allow for group events.
So the one thing one of the members did bring up to me when they announced that your turn was closing, we know that you guys do monthly events. I think they offered up that you could use that on a Sunday, that they're
Look at
not doing
that.
their regular events. I know that
Nice.
it's usually on Saturday, but
Okay.
All right, so that's an option, and that'll give an opportunity for our community to get a view of the
space,
location.
yeah, if nothing else. Yeah.
So let them know that's something that definitely Rob and I would be interested in.
even
maybe
if we don't do it
switching
as a regular thing,
Right.
we could do it just to try it out one
a
month.
one-day event.
Yeah.
Let the folks of the community kind of get a feel for what it looks like there and make decisions on if they want to take that membership that they had at your turn and bring it over to Tampa Gaming Guild. One of the things that makes me sad is watching any gaming
Location.
Establishment.
right
Yeah.
go away. Like it just hurts. It hurts. So
Yep.
if we can support, we'd love to help. So thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for sharing.
no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, so check them out. It looks like they've got a website, Wayne. The Tampa Gaming Guild is online. And then where else did you say you could find them, Jim?
They do a lot of their promotion on Meetup, right?
Meetup, okay.
A lot of times we'll schedule a game on Meetup and you could sign up to play it.
Cool.
We've done that a few times, and then that's how I discovered it. Actually, I was just looking for places and Meetup. Oh, hey, good, I'll go.
That's right.
Cool.
I mean, it's not far from me. It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tampa Gaming Guild if you want to look them up online. So
All right. Well, let's go West Coast and see any topics that we didn't cover for end of show that you wanted to bring up. Anything we missed out there on the West Coast?
any new acquisitions out there, Mike? Any Kickstarters deliver?
No,
No?
I know that the
That's awful.
I know,
Sounds like
I
Eeyore.
Sad panda.
found the press.
Oh no.
Yeah. I am waiting for. I know Too Many Bones Unbreakable started shipping, and everybody. It seems that everybody who's gotten the game never got any shipping notice. They just say it just showed up on my doorstep. So I'm kind of like, looking every little bit on the doorstep, not seeing anything.
That Eeyore looking.
Do you do like me where like randomly you'll walk by the front door and just kind of crack it open and peek without stepping
all
out?
the time,
All day
the
long.
time.
Wow.
Yeah.
He
Y'all
misses
sickness.
he misses his secret gamer friend in the apartment.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Sure,
he's
I do.
stalking his neighbors.
It's been a little while. Yeah.
But as far as I did back the all play trick taking Kickstarter, they had the 4 different trick taking games. I did back that.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody's surprised about that.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually held back on backing a lot of stuff lately. had
Well, I
to
didn't mean
figure out-
backing stuff, trick taking. Like,
Oh,
yeah, trick taking.
you with
My friend here, man, that I game with the most, Scott. He just loves small box card games, but he's like a huge trick taking.
I know a small box card game.
oh, we'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so he's like really got me more into all these different types of trick taking games with these little unique, mechanisms that it's trick taking, but it's like, oh man, I never knew you could do that with a trick taking game. It's one of those types of things. So I hopped on that one, and the other one that I backed was the Detective City of Angels, their new expansion, Saints and Sinners.
Good game.
So yeah, I really want to start getting through those. But no new acquisitions though this past week or so.
We'll try again next week. Do better.
Hopefully.
Oh, Wayne, what you got, Wayne?
No new acquisitions, and I'm really staying away from Kickstarter, man. With all these companies failing left and right and being
I don't blame you,
dissolved
man.
and other stuff. So
I don't
yeah,
blame
stay away
you.
from that. Actually, Samantha, Sam had a game day this past weekend, and went to her house and got in 4 games during the day, which was good. Probably all 4 might be going on my list this month. We'll see at the end of the month. And then I'm going to shout out. You guys probably don't watch them as much, but the Tom's Boring Unboxing.
Never watched a single episode.
Okay, well, this past week he got like a bunch of Etsy upgrades, but then he got new pucks for Crokinole, right?
Oh, nice.
Really nice, like perfect, really done ones. But then in the box though, there was another set of little discs that had numbers on it, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what this is, but I'll figure that out." And I'm like, "I know what it is."
Nice.
Somebody threw in a copy of 12 chip trick
Chip
in the thing for the flicking thing. So yeah, I was like, oh, I got to tell Mike and Carlos because
Very cool.
Nice. That's cool.
I know what that is.
That's
Well,
awesome.
but it could be also, and I saw this recently, and I want to buy it. There's a company that makes really nice crokinole discs. They also make like a billiards version with numbered discs,
Oh, that might be
and you're
what it
trying to
is.
shoot them into the center ring, almost like billiards.
Okay,
So
so
they're
maybe that's
numbered
what that
that way.
was.
It
Well,
could
I
be
gotta
that.
ruin the fun.
It could be
Yeah,
that.
It could be that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just
That's all right.
Yeah, ruined it.
got to keep
Ruined
factual.
Ruined
Is that all we got from West Lutz
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
from the West Side?
West Side?
Max, you taught us all my goods.
Oh my goods.
Oh my
Oh my
goods.
goods.
By
Yeah.
UA.
Uwe Rosenberg. Yeah.
Now, Wayne, this is the kind of game that would be right up your alley. Right on the cover, smack on the cover.
Yeah, fun game.
Is an ugly
Old-
white farmer
old-
dude.
Yeah.
It's like right up. But it's a small box game.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, double tuck. So this is a side by side stack.
Mhm.
I don't really good at
We
talking about
played
this,
it.
but
I don't talk so well.
Don't talk so good.
We played it at his son's birthday party on probably a 2x2 table.
Yeah, a little tiny table.
Little tiny
Yeah.
table in like the bowling alley area. I will say it is a engine building game where you're building buildings that produce different goods, and then you're building different buildings, using those goods to build better
right,
buildings
convert goods,
that
yeah.
can
Right.
convert goods. So maybe you have a building that makes meat, but then you get another building that converts that meat into another type of food, or you have a building that makes wheat, but then you have a building that makes grain, right, and turns that the grain into bread. And so you're upgrading the value of all these goods. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a deck of cards, but the game feels like a full-on Euro on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fantastic game, and I was able to take it up to my turn once for a Saturday. Most people just looked at it and like, no, I'm not going to give this a try.
I was there. I was one of those people. You showed it, and you were like, Carlos, you want to learn? And after 10 years of being your friend, I said, no, I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
Go find someone else.
Yeah.
And you regret it now.
I think Nick did play in the game, but people didn't catch on very well. But when I was teaching you two, you caught on very fast.
We're a little more.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
and then Carlos had a question. Rob was just able to interpret
Yeah.
for you.
But I've played enough Uwe games, enough Rosenbergs that I kind of know how he does things. And this does feel like a really light version of like Caverna or Agricola or something like that. I mean, obviously just done in a deck of
I'm
cards.
looking for it. I'm so looking for this
but
game.
it was fun.
It's a full game in a small
Yeah.
package.
Yeah.
It has almost, and I'll call it like a Texas Hold'em style feel to it, because there's kind of a decision
Oh,
point
yeah. I
where
see.
you have to
Yeah.
decide if you think you're going to get all the cards you need in order to produce all the things you need to produce, then you want to put all your workers to work, or you can change the mode that the workers work, where it reduces the amount of resources you need to produce what you do,
Safer.
but you're not going to gain as much.
Yeah.
So you have to decide whether I think I'm going to get what I need, or if I don't think I'm going to get what I need, I'm going to just put my workers in a more safe mode, kind of work a little slower, and it works like Texas Hold'em. You have this initial
A
flop
Yeah, splay
right?
of cards. Yeah.
of cards, and you're like, ooh, I needed more brick than that. I needed way more brick than that. I have so much brick, but I need the flop on the table that everyone shares
Yeah.
to have some more brick for me to make everything I need. So I'm going to put my workers into safe mode. Then we have the second flop, like the river almost, and it's like, damn it, there's my brick. I should have went all out. I knew it. Or worse, in Rob's case,
I did it wrong a couple
should have went
times.
safe. Now I made nothing this round.
zip.
I'm ticked off at all my workers.
Yep. I gambled too many times and came up empty too many times.
It really hit off. Oh my goods.
And it's
I
funny.
could
Well,
be-
when you do, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say I could be wrong, but I think they're getting ready to redo this game. Like
Oh, really?
reprint it
Oh, man.
and
Yeah.
update the graphic or
Yeah.
the
It's a good one.
artwork.
I mean, from the second I first played it back in 2016, I loved it. Fell in love with it. I've only been able to get a few people to play it.
Yeah.
But if you notice, like in the basic buildings, each of the type of basic buildings takes a different type of resource, and then some of the other little more advanced take that same resource.
Yeah.
And we all start asymmetrically.
Yep.
We each have a resource that we have more access to than the others. So the cards that you're buying, the workers that you're buying to help upgrade your engines, and the buildings that you're buying, we choose to go different routes. So kind of it incentivizes not being a jerk, Rob, and taking things that other people want. Because you're going to want to go one way, which kind of leaves the other players with the resource type buildings that they want. So I really like that piece. And I like that we were able to play it on such a small table and get a full game in while hanging out at a bowling alley. It was like a bowling alley birthday party kids center.
I still like being a jerk, but go ahead.
Anyway.
Now, there
So
was.
it looks
there
like it
one
was
thing-
reprinted in 2021.
oh, okay. So there you go. It was recently
Okay.
reprinted.
2021, 2022 is reprinted. Second.
So
There's
one
my
thing we-
Amazon.
One thing we did leave off on the rules is at the end of the game, even if you don't have a worker assigned, you can chain all your buildings.
Don't stop. I won the game.
Yeah,
Right? We don't need to
asterisk.
We don't have to put an
Yeah,
asterisk on it.
Nah.
I don't win often. Let me have this, okay? Let me have this.
Something like that.
That was Oh My Goods by
Uwe. Uwe.
that dude.
Uwe Rosenberg.
All right, folks. I know we're past the 10 o'clock hour. I really wanted to get this game
Oh, you're still
of
pushing
Dune
to try to finish
closed
it.
out.
We'll finish it. Come on,
So
finish.
as much as I hate closing out,
We're not doing the board tonight.
15 minutes early. No, we can save the board.
All right.
If you're willing to do these next two
Keep pushing
rounds,
them. What time are we? Yeah. Well, we'll
I
try.
got more pizza and beer.
We'll try. I just don't want to get home at 1
Carlos,
p.m.
Boardlandia, Game Nerds, Noble Knight all have copies of Oh My
Did they
Goods
change the
now.
name?
No, it's just Oh My Goods.
Oh my goods.
Boardlandia is
Doesn't know where to look.
$13.59. Game
Let me
Nerds
try it in
is
English.
$13.59. I think even Walmart's selling it. Let me see.
I was going to say check.
You can buy it on Walmart.com.
I'm in.
Cool stuff. You may get away with no shipping costs.
Like $12. What a deal. What a bargain.
I listen, folks. I thought at $16 or whatever it was for Azul was awesome.
Mini Azul.
Yeah, mini, which is still awesome. Wife and I are playing it at night, like while watching TV. It's awesome. That's a deal for that. That's a small box game that feels like a full euro.
I just think people get turned off because they see just a deck of cards and that's it.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, what's so cool? I haven't said it. I know I wanted to end the show to play the game, but so Wayne, like I could have goods. The goods are just the back of the cards. The back of the cards have a picture of a crate. Okay, that's the back of the card.
Barrel.
But it's not a barrel. It's a square. What kind of
barrel.
German barrels are square?
It's barrel.
That's a crate.
Pull it up, Wayne.
Anyway,
Anyway, go ahead.
the back of the card are crates. They represent goods, but where they are differentiates their value. If I have a good on my wheat producing building, it might be worth $2 each. But those goods, when I convert them using my
bread.
bakery into bread, they're worth $4 each. So you're actually moving them out of like your wheat building. So you're taking some wheat cards and some, was it like coal cards?
Charcoal.
Charcoal. Wheat. And then putting them on top of the bakery building, right? So they went from like $2 value to each of them are now worth $4 each. And then they go higher. Like you see that multiplication of the value of the cards as you move them from one building to a better. Anyway, Oh My Goods, great game. Thank y'all.
They don't look sold on it. I mean, they look a little.
There's also
eh.
expansions too.
Oh, I was going to ask because I thought I saw something about expansions.
There's one expansion that I know
There's,
of. but
there's two.
two.
actually.
Two. You got to pick those up. Are they for the reprint or are they for the original?
They
Looks
look
like
like
one
they're
of
in the same artwork as the reprint.
Yeah.
Longsdale and Revolt. Yeah,
Lookout Games. So if the reprints are from Lookout Games, that's the reprint.
That's the only problem with Lookout Games. I mean, Lookout Games are fantastic, but they use the same artist for every single game.
The same dry Euro artist.
I think
Yeah.
that like excites Wayne even more than cubes excite Rob.
Come on now.
Call me a
I just
liar.
want to point out
Call me a liar.
how many of those old games that you make fun of me are at the top of your list now.
I still got to get you guys to play Grand Austria Hotel.
Oh, I want to play that. That's
That's a good
that's
one.
another really good game from what I've
I
heard.
freaking love that game.
I have not played it, but yep, really good one.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap us up. We appreciate you, all of you that stuck around to this late 10:45 hour. Don't forget, every Thursday night, we're here doing the live call-in show. Check out the Beans and Dice Facebook, the Beans and Dice Discord, where we communicate. Don't forget to check out the Tampa Gamers Guild, which is a good stomping ground for Jim. I'm sure he wants it to continue.
Podcast. Let's mention the Wayne and
Wayne
Mitchell?
and Mitchell have been rocking the podcast uploads. We've had one each week for the last 2 weeks,
Yep.
and they've been fun listens.
Yeah, not this week. We with the end of school for both of us. Not one this week, but we'll be back next week.
Cool.
No, keep it going. We do appreciate it. And then next week, Chris Scafidi is going to join us.
Nice.
Chris has been messaging me. Chris Scafidi, designer of Gnome.
Several things now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of the Gnome. Nomadic Gardeners, that's the one. But he's also a co-designer on the recent Tapestry expansion. We met him in Missouri. Robert and I over in St. Louis. We met him at the design day for Stonemaier Games.
Sure did.
And he's been in contact with us almost 3 years now.
Taught him brass, right?
We did teach him Brass
Yeah,
Birmingham,
yep.
and he beat us at it. No, his buddy did.
Yeah, I think it was it Mike? What's the guy's name? I think it was Mike. Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, next week, he'll be on the show with us, joining us for at least a half hour, he says. Not the whole show. Join us for a half hour. So you'll be able to call in and talk to a designer and ask questions about what it's like to design games for Jamie Stegmaier.
Woo! Very nice.
On that note,
It's available at Cool Stuff Inc., by the way.
They're still looking.
Carlos, private chat real quick.
Gonna reel him in.
oh, then I missed something.
You missed something.
Yeah, go through the chats. There.
Oh, and the RPG show tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Would you just yell it
You
out?
can haul that
Wayne?
out. You
I
can
just
yell
wanted to
that
make
out,
sure
Wayne.
if you were pushing it or anything.
No. Listen, I forget a lot. There's a lot in my life. I almost committed to meeting up with Jim Odak for a game of hegemony. I'm like, wait a minute,
Oh,
tomorrow's
yeah.
like
Three things
Plus
going on.
RPG thing.
Yeah.
Plus he's
Tomorrow
been
night,
drinking.
9 o'clock ish. We're gonna join up myself, Wayne, our buddy Ron Frazier from Hot Atlanta, and new to the show, Nerdy Weds. William is going to join us, and we're going to talk RPGs again, which is great because I've had 2 sessions of D&D 5th edition. So I've already played. This is my first time playing it, so I get to talk like a modern day RPGer. So I'm looking forward to that conversation tomorrow.
Nice.
Good night, folks. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks to our guests.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jim Odak. Thanks, Max Byrne. Thanks to our buddies in the West Coast, Mike.
Our remotes.
And Wayne, we really appreciate you all joining each and every week.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hey, you played the right outro.
This time he got it right.
I should have played the intro.
On the outro, but the
Yeah, you
intro. The in, the out.
In through the out.